1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Hey there friends, how's it going today? David Potts here with Song Notes. Let's look at the song If I Needed You today. This is one a lot of you have requested. Month after month it comes in, and I'm excited to teach it for you here today. A lot of you have requested the Emmylou Harris version, so that's what I'm going to be teaching here. It sounds just like the Townes Van Zandt version. I find that the guitar arrangement is a bit more straightforward to play, which is good. So I'll show you a chords and strumming version if you just want a sort of easy campfire version, and then I'll get into the fingerstyle. I'll sort of show you step by step how to do that alternating thumb for each chord, and I'll show you how to build up to the full version you hear in Emmylou and the Don Williams recording. All right, so get on my practice notes, a few play along videos, a link to a lyric sheet, all that sort of good stuff over on my lesson page at songnotes.net. That's my website. This is lesson 608. So let's zoom on in and look at this. So this is the chord progression that this entire song uses. It repeats this 9-measure sequence over and over and over again. The lyrics will change as we move from the chorus to the verse and back to the chorus and stuff, but the chord progression is always the same. The intro uses this, the instrumental sections use this. So this is really, this is a gift that this song gives us. This is just this 9-measure sequence over and over again. If you can, you're going to want to memorize this, right? This is one of those chord progressions that's a bit straightforward to memorize, I would say. It's just 3 chords, and it's mostly G. The first 4 measures, first 5 measures actually are G. If you do get the lyric sheet that I link out to, when you see a bunch of G's in a row, what that means is every time you see a G, you're going to count to 4 for that G. So if you counted, it would sound like this, right? You would get your count going. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, G, 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 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4. Straightforward chords, 3 chords is all we need for this one. Now, if you did want to strum it really quick, what I like to use is a bass down, up, down, up, bass down, up, down, up, bass down, up, down, up, bass down, up, down, up. And I say bass, what I mean by that is it's a down strum, but if you can, try to pick out just the bass note of whatever chord you're playing. So for the G, that's going to be the 3rd fret of the thickest string. For the C, it's the 3rd fret of the 5th string. And for the D, it's the open 4th string. So that would sound like this. Let me just play through the progression once with the strumming pattern, right? Bass down, up, bass down, up, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2. If I needed you, would you come to me? Would you come to me for to ease my pain? If I need, right? And it repeats just like that, as I said. Okay, so I think this is the first thing to get going with your first day of practice. Even if you do want to finger pick, try to memorize this chord progression, right? And hum along to the song, get the lyric sheet that I linked to, listen to the Don Williams Emmylou version, play along if you can, right? You just want to sort of internalize this chord progression. You want the muscle memory build up as well, because once we get into the fingerstyle, which I'm about to teach you, if you have to stop and think which chord is next, that's going to get in your way. That's going to stop you from learning the fingerstyle patterns, right? Because we want to sort of not give our brain too much to worry about. So first day of practice, definitely memorize the chord progressions, write them down if you need to, and then you can play along with the song. Now let's look at the Travis style finger picking. So this is going to let us finger pick it like Emmylou, like Townes Van Zandt, if you want to do his version. Now the thing is about this is you're going to have to do alternating bass notes with your right thumb. Okay, now this is tricky. I have a bunch of introductory Travis picking lessons if this is new to you. Check out this figure on the screen right now. This shows the 3 chords, right? Our G, our C, and our D. And what you see, those circled yellow golden notes, what those are the bass notes of each chord that we're going to be picking. And it's like a pattern, right? It's very predictable. So for the G chord, you play get your left hand in this chord shape, right? I use my ring finger down here. I really recommend doing that if you can. It just makes the transition from G to C really easy. And it's going to help us do some of the flourish on the 3rd fret later on in the song with the G chord, right? Get your hand in the G shape, and you want to get your right thumb used to doing this bass note, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You just kind of want to be able to do it sort of monotonously. I personally like to anchor my pinky on the sort of body of my guitar like that. It just gives me a bit of a tactile anchor. You don't have to do that, but that way your hand isn't sort of floating above the guitar. So if you want to do that, you can, right? So this is the G, and the C is 5th string and 4th string. And And then for the D, this is a bit of a counterintuitive one, so to speak. We're going to do what's technically called a D over A. You're going to put your hand in the D shape. Okay, this is a D like any other D. But when we pluck the bass notes, we're going to be going from 5th string to 4th string as well, just like the C chord. Okay, this is called D over A because this note is the note A. And usually, whenever you play a chord, the bass note of that chord is the same note the chord is named after. So normally when you play a D, this 4th string open is a D, and that's normally our bass note, but this is a D over A. The reason we're doing this is when we're alternating bass notes, going between 5th string and 4th string is just going to give us more options on the thinner string. It's going to become clear a little bit later, right? But this is a general trope that's used across Travis picking in general, is you want to find creative ways, especially with that D chord, to finger pick it, to do the alternating bass notes in a convenient way. I have a separate lesson called Travis picking patterns for every chord. You can get that over my website as well. I have a free lesson on YouTube and a members-only cheat sheet you can download, and it shows these sort of patterns you can do. And the D chord in particular, I have a bunch of shortcuts mapped out. Anyway, you want to get comfortable with this, okay? You could technically go through that same progression I already taught you and do these patterns, right? If I needed you, would you come to me? Would you come to me for to ease my pain? And it just goes on like that forever, right? The lyrics change, but the chord progression stays the same, as I already noted there. Now, once you get comfortable with that, we can move into bringing in some of the sort of melody notes with our right index finger or middle finger. It's not really too strict which fingers you use here. I typically use my index finger. This figure is going to show you a way to start to bring these notes in, but it's not going to be the full shebang just yet. I like to ease you all into this, okay? You can skip ahead in my practice notes or in the video if you're more advanced, but basically this is going to let us sort of combine the things we've learned, the chord progression, the chords, the alternating bass notes, with a little bit of this melody stuff. So this would sound like this, okay, this next figure. This is a great thing to practice when you're ready, right? So it would be... repeat that last measure. You play it twice, okay? So this is going to start to evoke the melody, right? If I needed you. All the blue notes are eventually, when we add the rest, are going to do that complete melody for us. It's going to sound like a beautiful instrumental, but this is going to introduce them in a nice, feasible way here. This is why I like using my ring finger down here, is because you have to add this first fret of the G in that first measure, right? Then you go to you do a pinch on the 6th string and 3rd string for that second measure. Then you put your pinky down, 3rd fret of the 2nd string for that 3rd measure. Take your pinky off, okay? Put your pinky back. Now here you have to sort of jump to the C chord, and you know that this could be tricky at first. And then you have to jump to the D chord. So there's a lot of, these chord changes are going to be happening. That's why you want to build up the muscle memory of learning the chord progression first. So, your hands know where to go ahead of time. So this next version I have here brings in a lot more of these melody notes, these blue notes, but it's not going to be too fancy just yet. No syncopation, which is when the notes are happening on the offbeat, and no hammer-ons or pull-offs just yet. So this little figure right here would sound like this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It over and over again here. So what are the features of this little arrangement? This is, again, bringing in more of the contours of the melody, the part that you would hum or sing. But what you're going to find is that every time we play a blue note, a melody note, with the exception of the first pickup measure, the if I needed you, right? That little pickup is happening by itself. All the other melody notes are combined with a bass note. That's what that sort of vertical gray line in my right up here means. It's like a pinch. You're pinching I use my index finger, your thumb and your index finger at the same time, right? Pinch, 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 pinch. You get the idea. Okay, take a break, settle in, and then repeat it again. So this is a nice way to sort of get used to things. Now, I'm just playing this here because I've been practicing this song. I've been playing it for a while, so I'm a bit familiar with it. The first time you're doing this will be tricky, right? Even if you've practiced all the previous steps, it's going to take a bit to get your hands used to all this. So be patient with it, slow it down. You don't have to do all 9 measures here in a row. You can just do a 2 or a 4 measure sequence and repeat. That way you can sort of make sure you're not kind of just throwing yourself in the deep end, right? Start with little simple battles, simplify, slow it down, and then when you're ready, you can move on, okay? Now, the next thing we're going to do is take the same little arrangement I showed you, but we're going to bring in a little bit of syncopation and some hammer-ons. Now, what is syncopation? So you know how I told you in the previous version, all the melody notes were happening when the bass notes are being played, right? The bass notes are played on the quarter notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Everything is on the strong beat, on the quarter note. When we say syncopation, or when you hear that in music, what it refers to are notes that are played on the off beat or the weak beat, right? So if you look at this arrangement right here, notice in the first full measure, right? If I needed you, that open second string is being played after the 3 count, but before the 4 count. And it's going to be played between the bass notes, right? That little thing right there might be tricky at first, but you want to get comfortable with this sort of syncopation because it's going to be a feature of generally Travis picking songs in general, but this one in particular. So that's one thing we're going to introduce is a little bit of syncopation. And we're also going to bring in some of these hammer-ons. So see in the second full measure, I had that open to first fret on the second string, right? That's going to be something, we're going to pluck the 5th, or the 6th string and 2nd string together, but we're going to hammer on with our index finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, right? So that's going to happen in the 2nd full measure, the 4th complete measure, and it doesn't happen at all in this arrangement on line 2. So let's go back to line 1 here, and this is what this one would sound like, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. One more time. Okay, so that is a nice little sort of a way to level up things a little bit. We're bringing in a little bit of syncopation and a few of the hammer-ons, but not all of them yet because there are more to come. And here is what we're going to look at next. This is what I'm going to call the full Emmylou version, so to speak, okay? Now, here we're going to do a couple more hammer-ons and a few more bits of syncopation, and there's actually going to be a pull-off as well. Now, the pull-off is going to happen on line 2. Look at the measure of D here. How we're going to start off the same, pinching strings 5 and 3. But we're going to, on that second pinch, we're going to do a single pinch, but after the pinch, we're going to take our index finger off that 3rd string. And if you do it properly, it's going to make the 3rd string sound as if it was plucked open. But we're only going to pluck it once. You pluck it on the pinch, and you pull off. Now, pulling off, if you've never done it before with strings, it's kind of a tricky technique because you kind of have to, you can't just gently lift your finger slowly. You have to kind of be quick about it. And I find that if you kind of, instead of just lifting your finger straight off the fretboard, if you kind of almost like push into the string and then like it'll do a little bit of a flick, right? Like imagine your shoe is right next to a pebble on the ground and you take your foot off the ground, but the pebble goes flying. That's kind of how I think of it. You're doing like a little kick motion to the pebble. It's kind of what you have to do to the string as well. It takes practice, give it some time, but here's what this one sounds like, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Now that is basically what I would call the full Emmylou version. You could repeat this version for the entire song. You could repeat any of these versions for the entire song, right? Find the difficulty level that's right for your skills at the moment. Give yourself, though, some time to practice, because you will get a little bit more comfortable and confident with things as the days go by. And it might take you weeks as well, right? None of this stuff happens overnight. But this is what basically you could use for the entire song. You could sing along with this, right? And eventually what's going to happen is you could get a bit loose, and you could maybe add some syncopation to a note that you know is coming. As long as you're following the tabbed out blue notes, right? If I needed you, would you come to me? Would you come to me for to ease my pain? Those blue notes I just played are what is being sung. You could be a little bit loose. You could do them on the pinches. You could do them syncopated. It's all up to you. You can be a little bit loose and freewheeling with this. All right, now this last big part I want to show you here is how to take that full Emmylou version I just showed you. And what we're going to do is we're going to tweak some of the ways it's ended, right? In the final two measures. If you listen to the intro of her recording, and then you listen to the first time it's played in the chorus, and the second time, there's a couple small ways things are tweaked at the end. This is a nice little way to add a bit of elegance to things. So I'll show you how to do this, right? The first thing here is this last measure of D, and then the measure of G just after it. Things are going to be a little bit different. Here's what it sounds like in context, right? Notice the measure of D and G. So the goal of this version is to let the melody basically we want to add that little string I just played right there to the bass note. So the way to do this is with the D, we want to basically start the D like normal, pinch strings 5 and 3, take your index finger off string 3, and then we have to get this note, this fourth fret note as part of our melody, but we can't really do that in open position unless we use our pinky. But if we use our pinky, we can't play the open fourth string for the bass note, right? So what we have to do is be creative. We're gonna have to play the 5th fret of the 5th string, which gives us the same note as the open 4th string. Okay, so notice how the bass notes are gonna follow the same pattern to our ear. Right, I did open 4th string, open 5th string, open 4th string, open 5th string, 5th fret, 5th string, right? It's going to let us do the same bass note to the ear, if that makes sense. But it's also going to let us do this 4th fret on the 4th string to be a melody note at the same time. Okay, so the D measure. So you want to practice that over and over again just by itself. And end it with the pinched 6th string and 3rd string of the G, right? When I go to the G, I'm doing the pinch, and then I'm just doing the G bass notes for one measure. Then I go back to the D and do it over and over again, okay? So listen to the Don Williams Emmylou recording in the very beginning of the intro of the song. You're gonna hear the melody note do this exact thing. Now there's one other thing they do. There's a little flourish. A little pull off from 1st fret to open on the 2nd string, and then the 3rd string open, okay? That's being played as well. Now this is tricky because you have to do a pull off on the offbeat, and then the second half of the pull off happens when the bass note's being played. This took me a long time to get comfortable with. Even a couple minutes ago of recording, I had to practice this a few times because I kind of lost the feel, right? But it's gonna sound like this. Okay, again, listen to the recorded version for context, but it's going to be a nice little touch that you can do, especially during the intro when you're not singing. It's a nice little flair you can add, okay? Now, the next little bit of variation we're going to have is going to be in the very last measure and a half, okay? The first time that you hear the verse, or I guess it's the chorus being sung, if I needed you, would you come to me? Would you come to me for to ease my pain? When she says, ease my pain. It's going to go back up in melody, right? Ease my pain. And we're going to end with the open second string, okay? And I say that because the next time we play everything, we're going to end with the open third string, right? Ease your pain, ease your pain. So the first time, ease my pain. And the second time, ease your pain, ease my pain, ease your pain. So I hope you hear the difference there, right? Again, it's the first time it's played, we end with the open second string. The second time it's played, we end with the open third string, okay? If you want to see slow playthroughs with tabs on screen for all this stuff, it's over on my website, songnotes.net. I'll link to my practice notes as well, and a few other resources like a lyric sheet and some other good stuff. I'll put the video of Emmylou and Don Williams playing this as well. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you found this helpful. Thanks to all of you who have requested this song, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, my friends, and bye-bye.